Guys, I'm going to let you in a little secret. I was a fantastic Mormon. Me and my wife were the family that the bishop would sick on people that were thinking about joining the church or thinking about leaving the church because we could, convince anyone to stay, right? We were closers, and if Mormons could drink coffee, we could have had it. And so at all times, when I joined the church, all times I was always trying to bring people into the fold. And the person that I had focused on at this point was my best friend, who was a Jewish, I don't know why I said it that way, but a Jewish person, and I don't know why that's relevant. And when I was living in Vegas at the time, and we're going to my house, and I had set up a very manipulative Scrabble night because he's super competitive, and he thinks he's smart, and he's not smart because I have an 86.7% win rate at Scrabble, and he didn't. But anyways, so we were talking, and as we're sitting there talking, he asked me this question. He goes, hey, Oscar, why do so many Mormon families have disabled children? And my answer to him was well, in the afterlife, everybody sees their family in the perfect form. The Mormons believe that when you die in heaven, or I'm not going to get into it, it's really complicated, but in heaven, in their heaven, you are in your perfect form. So if you're disabled, you're normal. It's really weird to say. If you're missing an arm, your arm is waiting for you when you die, which is the wrong answer, right? The correct answer, statistically speaking, is that they have more kids, and they keep having kids till they're older, and so that's usually why they have disabled children, and they also adopt a lot of kids. And this troubled me a lot, because I, at this point, had been Mormon for 6 years, because it made me flash back to when my daughter was 6 months old. When my daughter was 6 months old, she was diagnosed with cerebral palsy, very severe form of cerebral palsy. And I remember being in the doctor's office, and my wife and I were kind of freaking out because we had been to specialist after specialist after specialist because she wasn't hitting her milestones. And the doctor, the neurologist, very really big-time neurologist, was listing all the things that are wrong with her and all the troubles we were going to have. And my wife kept saying, it's going to be okay, it's going to be okay. And I was just sitting there with a blank look, and she's going, it's going to be okay. And the doctor just stops, looks at my wife, says, it's not going to be okay. It's never going to be okay. And I know it's hard to hear, but it's what we needed to hear at that point. And so there I was a very young father, and I didn't have sort of any guidance. I needed some sort of guidance. I mean, I was an asshole, I just stopped doing day drinking, and I don't want to say I was raised by asshole. I mean, well, my mother, we don't have time for that. But one time, she was kicked out of one of my AYSO soccer games for lunging at another kid. Yeah, my dad was one of those relatively good guys, and I will keep him well. He was the type of guy, though, that would always pull over and help people on the side of the road, But I was always, that was very sweet. But I was always the kid in the back going, Dad, we got to go home. We're going to miss Star Trek The Next Generation. We're going to hit it. Fuck that lady. I know she's crying, and she's so happy, but we got to go. There's no DVR. I don't even know what DVR is. We just got to go. So I'm just I started reading a bunch of books. They're those self-help parenting books. And as I'm reading those books, they're just basic feed your kid, be nice to your kid, don't leave your kid in the car for more than 2 hours alone, So they weren't really helping because that's sort of basic shit. And I wanted to try, I thought maybe religion, right? I was a recovering Catholic, so that was out. I tried Buddhism when I was younger, but one day I woke up and I wanted to punch someone in the face and have steak, so that was out. And my in-laws, they were all LDS, Mormons, Latter-day Saints. And so I said, we'll send over some missionaries. And boy, guys, that was the wrong call because they're weird people. There's one missionary that came and tried to convert me, and all she would say was, oh, this is awesome. Jesus is awesome. God is awesome. The afterlife is awesome. It's awesome. It was really annoying. Actually, a few years later, she came back, and she was trying to sell me some miracle pills that were going to cure obesity and depression and bipolarism. And she told me the pills were awesome, right? And then there was the guy, this guy was he was the biggest prick. They're missionaries. They're supposed to be religious people. And he was shitting all over his other partner because the other guy was going to become a master electrician and he was going into pre-med. And he was well, he's an idiot. And in front of someone who's trying to convert. And I'm you don't realize this, but he's going to be making more money than you. And then, though my personal favorite was the lady who had just come from a real ethnic area and was happy to be around white people because my wife is white. She's really happy to be around white people. And when she learned that I was a Guatemalan Mexican, she, thank you Latin people who got that joke, she was just I had to be it's okay, I'm one of the good ones. Just, Yeah, that happens, guys. Welcome to Pumpkins America. But finally, I did meet someone. This is, I know this is a live show, but there were two elders called Paints and Coats, and I thought that was okay. Good, someone laughed. I always thought it was amazing, but the guy, Elder Coats, really got me into it. And whether he meant to or not, he mentioned this whole thing about the afterlife, how you're going to be the perfect person in the afterlife, and they got me, and I jumped in. Literally, jumped in. I was baptized. And then for the next few years, I was all in to be a member of the church. Like I said, my wife and I were super good at converting people. And the thing about Mormonism is that there are different levels. Like at every level, you kind of get a new reward. It's sort of like Herbalife, you know what I mean? And I'm moving up. And at one point, I started teaching kids. By the way, I taught kids Bible, the Book of Mormon, for 3 years. And so when I get into arguments with people, they're always surprised at how well I know the Bible, because I look like a heathen. I am now, but and thank you. And so we were doing well. And sort of the final level is to enter the temple. If you guys, I don't know if you've heard the temple, right? Enter the temple, get the magic underwear. It was pretty awesome. And you had to take all these classes, and you had to give up 10% of your salary for like 2 years or something, and just be part of the, be part of the fold. And I did it. It's complicated, and I'm simplifying it for the story. Okay, give me a second. I'm in the middle of something. We can talk about it after. And so I did it. Me and my wife did it. We were going to get sealed in the temple, which is we're going to get remarried. We're going to bring our kids into a temple marriage and walk in there. And guys, it's fucking weird in there. It's fucking weird in there. I want to tell you about the chants, the secret handshakes, the funny hats, the instructional videos. I want to talk about all of that, but I swear to God, I had to promise I would never speak about this or they would gut me and my family. But when I left there, I was like, this is weird. I can't do this. This is not what I want for my family. This is not the path that I wanted to take, And then this had just happened, and my friend asked me this question, and I realized that I don't really believe in all of this, right? I was a great Mormon, but I didn't really buy a lot of the stuff that I had to teach to the kids. Whenever I had a problem with what lesson they were doing, with Malachi and all that bullshit, I would teach a story about World War II. I was a good Mormon, but I didn't believe in Joseph Smith. And so I left. By the end of the Scrabble game, I had decided I was done with the Mormon church. And this was going to be a big thing, because you're a community. Our babysitters, everybody we knew was in that church. And so the next day, I had to go to church, and I had to teach these kids about Mormonism, and I didn't know what to talk about because everything had just come flooding back. Like all of a sudden, just one decision had just exploded in my face. And so I looked at these kids, these little kids who were expecting me to teach them, to get them in this really weird fucking room with hats. I can't get into it right now, guys. But so I sat there and I looked at them and I said, okay. I said, at one point during World War II, because I always went back to World War II, the Japanese were worried about not being able to attack mainland America. So what they did, and by the way, Radio Live did a really good episode about this, what they did was they created these hot air balloons. This is a true story. They created these hot air balloons, and they figured out if they launched them at the right place at the right time, they would go up into like a jet stream, fly across and land in America. And most of them landed in the Pacific Northwest. And they actually killed a few people. Well, the biggest thing, I think they killed 8 people, the pregnant lady and like 7 other kids, because they saw this like basket on the floor. They didn't know what it was, and they touched it, and it blew up and it killed them. And I said, the problem with these baskets that are out there is that they're still out there in the Pacific Northwest. And I said, I tell you this because someday you might be up there hiking, and the past is going to blow up in your face. Thank you.
Oscar Sagastume, ladies and gentlemen.